Rock Duck.
Hello and welcome back, Savatage friends. 2025 has been a great year for Savatage as we got to witness and see them live for the first time in well over a decade since the 2015 walk-in show. And even then, that was a one-off show. They did an extensive tour in 2025, and guess what, guys? They've already posted their 2026 tour dates for Europe. Yes, I know. Unfortunately, so far, nothing yet for the US of A. We are still waiting patiently. However, this 2026 European tour date sparks new controversy in the fact that will we be getting an album this year? And let's look at the tour dates real quick. All 2026 European tour dates so far. So the first show we have coming up for 2026 will be June 3rd in Sweden, and it'll be the Sweden Rock Festival in Salzburg, Sweden. On June 5th, 2026, we have the Heavy Weekend Festival at Maxville, France. July 19, we have the Zorlu PSM Turkcell Sanesi in Istanbul, Turkey. And that's a headline show. That is going to be huge. July 21, we have the Arenel Romain Open Air, and that's in Bucharest, Romania. Huge fans out in Bucharest. Special shout out to you guys. July 23rd, Plovdiv in Province. And this is going to be epic because I'm not really sure that they've ever played here before, and it's at the BE Four Hills. July 25th, 2026. It'll be the Release Festival. Now, I don't know what that means. Are they releasing an album? It'll be in Athens, but it says Release Festival, July 25, 2026. And that's got everyone amped up as to are they releasing their new album that they've been talking about. John Oliva's talked about it. Chris Caffrey's talked about it. Al Petrelli's talked about it. Johnny Lee Middleton's talked about it. They've all talked about it. Jeff Plate has even talked about it. So July 27th, 2026, the amphitheater in Pompeii, and this is going to be huge. It's a special concert with an orchestra, guys, in Pompeii, Italy. They are really gearing up for a huge Savatage comeback in 2026. And then July 28th, Castello Caresi in Este, Italy, right? And that's going to be another headline show with a special guest, Vision Divine. And then we're back at Wacken Open Air Festival at July 30th, right? In Wacken, Germany. And then that brings us to August 1st, another headline show in Tilburg, Netherlands. And if you guys aren't familiar with Savatage and Tilburg, the Tilburg shows are legendary. Legendary. All right, August 3rd, Z7 Open Air, and that's in Pratelns, back in Switzerland. And then August 6th, Leyendas del Rock Festival in Vienna, Spain. Wow, this is going to be a phenomenal tour. August 7th, Alcatraz Open Air Festival in Kortrijk, Belgium. Again, Belgium, huge fans out there. August 6th, Ebb Riot Festival, Hamburg, Germany. August 9th, Keep It True Festival at Gisselwind, Germany. And August 11th, Progresja in Warsaw, Masovian. It's weird. I can't even pronounce some of these names and some of the places they're playing, but yet they won't play here in the States because there's not as much demand here in the States as there are in some of these other countries that we can't even pronounce the names for. That's sad, guys. We need to build up some momentum here in the US of A to get them to play here. All right, August 12th, Parkbühne, Leipzig, Germany. And then August 13th, Kunstreisen, Bonn, Germany. And then we've got Czechia, the Rock Castle Open Air Festival. I mean, come on, guys, Rock Castle. And that's August 15th. All right, so let's take it back to this one we were looking at, which definitely says Release Festival. And that's in July 25th. And guys, that's in Athens. Now, if you guys are not familiar with what happens in Athens and in Greece in particular, they have the highest per capita fan base for basically bands like Savatage, Iced Earth, and bands like that. The Tampa Bay phenomenon really crossed over to Athens. Um, and they are huge over there. So if they're doing the release festival there for a release party for the new album, that is going to be one of the best shows ever. So if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, and again, I don't know that they're releasing this. I'm just going by what they're saying here. So all of this is unconfirmed. I'm just reading right off of the official Savatage tour or Savatage website. This is their tour page. And I was hoping to get some new information about, the new album or anything like that. But of course, they're going to be hush hush um, with that release, and we can see why. But if anyone is looking at these dates, remember that John wanted to release the album in April because that's when Chris Oliva's birthday is. And all of these shows are after April. Now, the reason there's a better chance of us getting the new album this next tour is because they've been together now for an entire year. So normally what the guys do is they always have the TSO, right? Trans-Siberian Orchestra. And so they'll get together um, for that part of the year, which is normally they start in around a little before October, right? September, October, start gearing up and rehearsing for the TSO shows that, start late November and go into December. And then they're done for the year. Last year they got together earlier, started rehearsing the Savatage material, went out on the summer Savatage tour, and here it looks like they're gearing up for the summer of 2026 European tour. And again, they're going to have the TSO winter tour. So it looks like they're separating Savatage and TSO between summer and winter, and that makes sense. So if they're going to knock out the new Savatage album, it's going to have to be the release somewhere around April if they're going to do it, unconfirmed, and then they're going to tour behind that in the summer European tour with the official release party, uh, from my speculation, in Athens, July 25th, release festival. So, and that just could be the name of the festival. I don't really know. But either way, we're looking forward to some new Savatage. We're looking forward to hearing some new material. And we're also looking forward to seeing them again, covering all the great classics that we already know and are so used to hearing and are ingrained in our memories, and we just can't do without. Now, I know a lot of you Savatage fans were disappointed with the last tour because they limited their set list to pretty much only the classic hits like Gutter Ballet, Hall of the Mountain King, and so forth. And other than that, the show was extensively filled with what was basically the Wake of Magellan songs. And they literally omitted songs. They omitted entire albums. Like they just didn't even touch Poets and Madmen or some of the other earlier albums, and didn't do a single song from any of those. And guys, cut them some slack. They haven't played in basically over 20 years. I mean, you can't really count the one-off walking thing. So to get together and start jamming and rehearsing, that's pretty much what this first tour was all about. Getting the guys back together, getting the team back together, getting on the road, getting the Savatage feel, and having everyone bonding in the Savatage light and vibe. Then they can start focusing on, working as a unit to learn the new material that John and Chris Caffrey and Al Pitrelli and some of the others have been working on. John most extensively has said he's written enough material for 3 albums. I know Chris Caffrey has some material of his own. I've posted some on this channel. And I know the other guys like Al Pitrelli also, that they're well-versed guitarists and they're always writing. So when these cats get together and start putting their mind to the album, which we know that's what they're doing now because now they've been together. So when they were only doing TSO, think about it. They were only together for a short period of time out of the entire year. They were extensively rehearsing for the TSO shows, and that kept them busy. And after that was done, well, then they had the rest of the year to go off and do their own stuff, which is what they were doing and focusing on. Now they've all gathered together and they're bonding and doing the Savatage thing. So one can only surmise that out of that, we will get the new album that we've been promised. And I can't wait. It's going to be phenomenal, guys. Um, some of the stuff that's been leaked, some of the stuff that I've heard, it will just blow you away. The fact that they haven't released it yet, I'm like, guys, what are you holding it back for? I mean, come on. My biggest fear is that we lose another member between here and there, and it's never released. So we've got to get this stuff out. This stuff is legendary. Savatage is going to go down as one of the best metal bands of all time. And I know a lot of people go, well, it's not like it used to be. You know, ever since Chris died, or ever since, you know, Doc Wackles left the band, it's not that band anymore. You're right. And guess what? It wasn't that band anymore when Keith Collins departed and we added Johnny Lee Middleton. And there's always been changes. And what we're doing here at Rock Duck is we're putting together different iterations of all the Savatage bands that have come up over the decades, right? Because you have what we call, or what I call, the original Savatage, and that's the Keith Collins years. Then you got the classic Savatage, right? And that'll be when they added Johnny Lee Middleton, and that'll be those years. And then when Chris passes, and they do the switcheroo, right? Doc Wackles leaves. They do some switch ups. And then they got the intermediary point where they bring in the guy from Testament. And then he's just there for the one-off album, and he goes on tour with them. The great Alex Skolnick. And then after that, they find a permanent replacement, Al Pitrelli, who's a phenomenal guitarist in his own right. They start writing new material. They add another vocalist that no one even remembers because at this point, Zach had to take some time out due to some personal reasons. So we got Mr. Jania, right, coming in to sing. Nobody even remembers his name. So we're putting together all hail the Mountain King. And this is going to be a series of sagas of the different iterations of all the Savatages. And it's even going to include the JOP years, right? John Olivas Payne years, when he was off doing that. Because as he said himself, the only thing that it wasn't was Savatage by name, because legally he couldn't use the name. But they were touring, doing Savatage songs and writing what would have been new Savatage material. So we're going to include that in this iteration. But we've got the iteration of all of it. Most people don't even know the members of who was there between when John left and before Chris died. They actually went on tour for Edge of Thorns, right? There's all this great back catalog of Savatage that most people don't even know about, yet people are yelling and screaming for new material, new material. Guess what? There's tons of old material you haven't even heard yet. So we're going to put some of that together. It's all called All Hail the Mountain King. It's going to be done as a series of sagas between like 20 and 40 minutes per saga. And each one will showcase and highlight these different eras and these different times of Savatage. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you get a chance to go see Savatage this year. Maybe if you were the fortunate ones that got to see him in 2025, leave a comment below. Leave a comment if you want to see him in 2026. And if you'd like to see him in the United States, Canada, or Mexico, definitely drop your comments below so we can get the ball rolling and see if we can get these guys to at least play down in Tampa Bay. All right, guys, that's all I've got for you today on the Savatage news. Hit me up if you've got any information that I don't have. Drop me a link below, and we will share it and pass along to those that need to get it. All right, Rock Duck over and out.